People used to look to magazines like Drummer for inspiration for their scenes and for their fetishes and things like that. They're doing the same thing on the internet now. Is there a substantive difference between those two?
Yes, Drummer was more of an abstraction that played to your imagination, which caused you to go create something. It didn't show you like Exhibit A in a video on the internet. I mean, that shows you, and it kind of says, oh, I don't have a playroom that's equipped like that, I don't have that equipment. It's too specific. Whereas Drummer, in writing about a playroom and writing about equipment, it became, suddenly you could massage that yourself in your own reality. And then you didn't feel like, well, I have to go out and achieve all this, I have to buy all these whips. It's a kind of like consumerization, the corporatization of leather that's occurred to all of homosexuality, because homosexuality has become a big corporate business. For instance, The Advocate and Logo and Planet Out, all those things that seem separate are really owned by one corporation that's this columnar kind of thing. It's not horizontal. Back in the day of Drummer, there were lots of different people on the same plane who were putting out stuff, and so there was a variety, diversity of information. Whereas if you got everything from going up and down, well, if the guy at the top who owns all this corporation says to Allison Books that you cannot print something, or what you print will have to be reviewed in The Advocate, and nothing in The Advocate can be reviewed if it's not printed by Allison. Well, then you've got just another corporation boondoggle which strangles gay culture.
So basically it's the Clear Channelization of our leather culture. Clear Channel owns 900 stations around the United States, things like that.
Right, and then if you get some of these network or dish channels and so forth, those are censored by the religious stations that pay a lot of money for that. So they are still trumping, they're still playing their trump card on top of our gay card.
Now, I know you were just announced as a judge for the for ILSB, International Leather Survey.
Is that public now?
It is public. It just came out. Yeah, it just came out. Yeah, Tony just said it.
I didn't know that. No, I mean, I knew I was going to be a judge, but I didn't know it was...
No, Oliver sent the announcement out today, so you're official.
Oh, your little ticker along the bottom
of the screen. You'll be getting accolades in the street and stuff. So now everyone believes that, and I think it's probably true, that ILSB is the spiritual successor to Drummer, to the Drummer contest. I don't want to get you in trouble with the producers, but what are your thoughts on that?
I admire them very much, and one of the reasons that I accepted their really thoughtful and respectful and kind invitation was that they were trying to restore Drummer history, because there is a big gap where Drummer fell off in 1999 because it had been bought by a Dutchman, and he took a magazine that succeeded precisely because it was American, and he de-Americanized it, and that caused the soul to fall out of what Drummer was. Nothing wrong with other cultures, but I based the images on Drummer on the most successful advertising campaign in the world, and that's Marlboro. The Marlboro Man I just simply transposed that image into Drummer and made it gay and made it leather, brought out the Leatherman, brought out the cowboy, brought out the blue collar thing. All the stuff that eventually ended up being in the Village People was in Drummer, but it took, I think his name is Moroder, maybe not him, somebody, whatever his name was, who pulled the Village People together. He was a patron at the Mine Shaft in New York, where we all played, and where Drummer was. That was one of the main venues for acting out Drummer in public.
Now, a question for you about European versus U.S. culture. There's a perception, right or wrong today, that Europeans play harder, gear harder, are more advanced at all this stuff than we are. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I just got back from Europe.
Well, you can speak.
That's the answer to the question.
Okay, all right, that's true.
No, it's true. I think it is true. I think Americans, even American leather people, have to be very careful that we don't fall into the nasty religious conservative tsunami that has swept our culture, making America fundamentalist and saying that sex is bad and immoral and anything that is sensual is less than good. And I think we have to be careful that our culture doesn't become infiltrated by that. That's why in that long subtitle of Gay San Francisco, it talks about the American pop culture war and its effect on things like Drummer. There were things we couldn't even publish in Drummer, because to print Drummer, we'd have to get a printer who would print us late at night. And usually because they were cheaper at night, and usually these printers were printing religious stuff by day, but they were immoral enough to print gay stuff by night. But even at that, they would balk at some of the covers, at some of the interior photographs, and at some of the writing that was in Drummer. They'd say, you either have to take that out or I'm not going to print this issue.
Well, we still encounter that today, not as much as we did, but we still encounter some of it today, unfortunately.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Well, let's...
I think even more so, because there's more censors out there. See, Drummer was well underway before Anita Bryant in 1977 in Dade County ignited this horrible fuse.
So you got the new book out. It's available where?
Everywhere.
Everywhere, of course.
By order in bookstores and online at Amazon.
And what's your next step? What's up next for you?
What's up next for me? This Gay San Francisco is volume 1. It's 732 pages. It's volume 1, and there's 3 more volumes, all of which are written, and we're in the final stages of fact-checking and editing this. And this is the one thing about these books. This is not just blab, and it's not just me talking. I've interviewed hundreds of people for 25 or 30 years, and their voices are in this book. It's their eyewitness as well. It's not just my eyewitness. And so there's all that in there, and it's all fact-checked, as much as anything can be.
That's a huge amount of work.
It is. It's a life's work, and it's taken 20 years just to get out volume 1 and prep the others to do it. So, I'm fucking insane.
Thankfully for us. That. Good for us.
Well, but if it goes back to your question about the ISLB, right? It goes back to that they're trying to put this history to rights and put it back together. It's almost too late to jump in. Because the participants, a lot of them are gone, the eyewitnesses, a lot of them are gone, and so having gotten these things, there's stuff that is now not reachable by people who might want to sit down today and start it. Well, actually, and then about Gay San Francisco is the entire text of Gay San Francisco is available free online to anybody who wants to search it and use it and quote it so that they can do their own writing. It's not that I wrote this to make money, because after 20 years, what am I going to make? A penny a minute, a penny an hour, a penny a year? This book will sell 30 copies, but it's free online to people who are researching or want to know things, or if there's contestants who want to know what some background is in order to get up and give a proper speech.
It's phenomenal. When I saw it was available online, I was like, wow, is this guy crazy? The answer's probably yes.
Yes, right, some sorts. Yes.
Jack, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us.
You're so welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And we look forward to seeing this volumes 2 and 3.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.